If you feel like you're living for someone else's life and chasing goals that didn't even feel like yours, this episode is for you. Because sometimes we don't need better goals. We just need to figure out who we're really doing it for. So today I'm going to talk about 5 ways that people pleasing often looks like you're making a smart decision and how you can finally start choosing for yourself. Point number 1 is success as a proxy for approval. The thing you tell yourself is, if I succeed, I'll finally feel enough. The reality is that external success does not fix internal insecurity. So you choose a path, a job, a relationship that looks good on paper, but you end up feeling unfulfilled and empty inside. You weren't chasing fulfillment, you were chasing somebody else's approval of what you were doing. It's one of the lessons I've learned in my life is that chasing validation is ultimately, you may not know it early on, but later on down that road, you're going to look back and you're going to feel a sense of regret to some extent, because you're going to wonder, what if you had just chosen that path that you wanted to take yourself that was outside of what the people that you were trying to please were, and you wanted to live for yourself? What would have happened? What would have been the alternative? What potentially could you be doing right now if you had chosen a different path? So those feelings are going to come up, and you're going to realize that some of the things you made were smart decisions. They really, really were smart decisions, and things that you should have made and decisions you should have made, but ultimately they may have been smart decisions for somebody else. And that's something that you're going to have to reconcile and realize that validation is a moving target. Chasing meaning and not applause is a much better way to go. And oftentimes it's the more fulfilling route to go when you chase meaning instead of validation. Number 2 is the fear of disappointing people. You tell yourself that keeping others happy means that I'm doing the right thing. The reality is, pleasing everybody is just self-abandonment in disguise. You're choosing other people over you. You're choosing other people's happiness over yourself. And in some situations, sure, that's the thing that you need to do. You might be in a situation where you're a parent, there's a child, there's somebody in your relationship, and you're choosing them ultimately. And that's totally okay. And that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm alluding to is when you have options for you to actually choose something that you want to do, but you're afraid of what other people are going to think about you, and you value their opinions more than you value the opinion of yourself and your decision. So you ultimately end up picking the thing that somebody else wants you to do when you had the option to actually go one way. You said yes to something when you wanted to say no. You stayed when you knew that you should have left, and you thought you made the mature choice, but ultimately you feel resentful about it. Think of the analogy of getting into a car. You've got several people in the car, and you know the destination that you want to go to, or you think you know ultimately where you want to go to, but you let other people put in the coordinates into the GPS, and then you just start to follow the GPS wondering where you're even going, and if you even want to go to that place, but everybody else wants to and they want you to, so you don't say anything and you just go along with it. If you're interested in living your truth and living more authentic to yourself, you have to realize that you can't live while performing for other people. So you have to find that balance, or you have to find it within yourself to choose a path that's more in alignment with you, and be okay with making that decision and understanding that other people may not agree with you, but ultimately trust your gut to move forward. Number 3 is confusing peacekeeping with integrity. The thing you tell yourself is, if I don't rock the boat, I'm doing the right thing. The actual reality is, avoiding discomfort means avoiding growth. Sometimes you have to know when to be silent, you have to know when to be more passive and not do things. But there's times where you have to know and understand that you need to speak up, you need to take action, you need to actually do something. There's people that fall on the opposite ends of that spectrum. There's people that are really good at the doing part and not good at the staying silent and more reserved in situations. There's people that stay more reserved and don't necessarily take the action that they need to in that situation. So it's important that you identify which one you are, and you can always fall in the middle. It's a spectrum, so there's definitely ranges to it, but it's important that you understand what your personality is and what you tend to lean towards, and understand what adjustment you need to make in order to compensate and get into a more balanced approach, as well as understand situationally where you need to be more upfront and where you need to be more reserved and silent. Don't avoid the tough conversations. A lot easier said than done. I tend to fall on the side of avoidance as opposed to the side of engagement and conflict, but I realize that, and that's something that I adjust and I try to compensate for and understand situationally where I am. And if I'm seeking growth, then I have to have a growth mindset and be able to put myself out there and show more of myself and be able to make those decisions and make those calls when the time comes. Number 4 is mistaking silence for strength. The thing you tell yourself is, if I don't speak up, I'm being wise. Silence isn't always strength. Sometimes it's fear in disguise. It's pretty obvious, but when you're going through something, when you're going through a situation where you're in a position where you need to say something, sometimes you will tend to avoid it. Instead of asking for what is needed, you stay quiet to keep the peace, but ultimately it will cost you self-respect, because you're not going to like yourself. You're not going to like how you didn't react to something. You're not going to like the decision that you make, and you're going to beat yourself up over it, and you're going to lose self-respect. And when you lose self-respect, you start to lose confidence. When you lose confidence, you make less decisions, you take less risks, therefore you have less opportunities, and you start to get that feeling of being stuck and stagnant in life. Try not to turn down the volume of your own voice. Your voice is not a threat, it's a compass. And it's something that you can use to guide you and to direct you and to influence and make decisions. So if you need to speak up on something, start to learn how to speak up on things. If you need to make a decision about something, start to learn what you can do to make those decisions. And ultimately starts with who you are as a person and how you react and how you express yourself, and getting to know more of yourself to understand your decision-making framework or your decision-making mental models, and then you can now start to be a bit more confident. The next one is performing instead of living. The thing we tell ourselves is, as long as I'm doing what's expected, I am on the right path. Living for expectations keeps you from experiencing that true fulfillment. That's something I can resonate with 100%. Hitting all the right milestones in life, doing all the right things in life, doing all the right things in your career, getting all the right degrees, all the right certifications, but feeling like you're living someone else's life, deep down wondering, who am I doing this for? It's a scary feeling. It's a scary feeling when you're doing a lot and you feel like you're doing a lot and you feel like you've accomplished a lot, you have a lot of experience and you're working so hard, but you still sit back and wonder, is this truly what I want to do? And ask yourself the question, who am I doing this for? Am I doing this for my friends, my family? Am I doing this for strangers? Am I doing this for people I don't even know? Or am I doing this for myself? You have to answer that. You have to be able to answer that. And the thing that I've learned is that the things that ultimately you do for yourself that benefit other people, that help other people, that are positive to this world and to other people, those are the things that are most likely going to bring you more fulfillment, and you're going to want to do more of those things. So finding that thing that you yourself, number one, have the skill to do, number two, are passionate about, and number three, are willing to invest time into doing, that's the sweet spot. And that is something that you should strive for and continue to strive for. The moment you stop performing and you start choosing, that's when you start to feel like you're living life for yourself. If this helped you stop performing for approval, this next episode right here is going to help you stop waiting for clarity, because sometimes the thing that's keeping you stuck is your fear of what comes next. So check it out.